Tell me, if you were suddenly transported back in time into the heart of a bustling medieval city, what do you think would be the greatest danger you'd face? Disease, perhaps? A violent thief in the alleyway? Or maybe the endless stench of unwashed streets? What if I told you that the greatest threat was something far more ordinary? Something we barely think about in our modern world: fire. Close your eyes for a moment and picture this. You're standing in a narrow cobblestone street, pressed in on both sides by tall, crooked houses leaning toward each other as though whispering secrets. Their upper floors jut out above your head, dark wooden beams crossing each other like skeletal fingers, the plaster between them cracking with age. The smell of smoke hangs in the air, not from disaster, but from every hearth and every home. The streets are alive, merchants shouting, bakers pulling loaves from ovens, children darting between the legs of horses. The city is vibrant, noisy, alive. But it is also a tinderbox. One stray spark, one forgotten candle, one overturned cooking pot, and everything could be lost. You see, medieval cities were built not with the permanence of stone, but with the fragility of wood, thatch, and tar. And in this maze of timber and firelight, disaster was never far away. Let's step deeper into this world together, and I'll show you exactly why medieval cities burn so often. Imagine dusk settling over such a city. The shadows lengthen, lanterns are lit, hearth fires are stoked. The entire town glows in shades of orange and gold, each household's flame casting warmth and comfort. But those same flames, the very heart of life, were also the source of constant fear. There were no electric lamps, no safe stoves. Fire was survival. Without it, people could not cook their bread, heat their homes, or light their nights. Yet every flame was an open flame, every ember a potential catastrophe. The houses themselves invited disaster. The walls were often made of wattle and daub sticks woven together and packed with mud, straw, and dung. Roofs were thatched, thick bundles of dried reeds or straw that crackled like paper when dry. A single spark carried upward by a breeze could set half a neighborhood alight in moments. And because the houses were built so tightly together, sometimes with only a few feet between them, fire leapt from one rooftop to the next like a predator hunting prey. Think of it. In summer, when the air was dry and hot, the whole city seemed to wait nervously. Each creak of timber, each whiff of smoke, a reminder that flames could come at any hour. In winter, when every family huddled close to their hearth, sparks snapped into the night air, and the icy wind carried them down crooked streets. The people lived suspended between comfort and calamity, always one mistake away from ruin. Now, picture yourself walking through a medieval market. The stalls are draped with colorful cloth, the air alive with the scent of roasted meat, fish, spiced wine, and manure. Everywhere you look, flames flicker torches nailed to wooden posts, braziers burning to keep vendors warm, candles dripping wax across counters. There are no regulations, no fire codes, no fireproofing. Everything is raw, vulnerable, exposed. It feels festive, but beneath the joy lies dread, because everyone knows what fire can do. And when fire came, it came like a beast unleashed. First, there was the sound. A crack, a roar, a rush of heat. People screamed, horses bolted. Bells rang furiously from the nearest church tower, warning the town that flames had broken free. Men grabbed buckets, women shouted for their children, neighbors rushed with whatever water they could carry. But what is a bucket against a burning inferno? Wooden beams ignited like kindling. Thatch collapsed inward, sending showers of sparks into the sky. Whole streets became rivers of flame, heat so intense it blistered skin from a distance. And the fear was contagious. You could not trust the fire to stay contained, not in a place where every building was its brother's keeper. You could lose your home, your possessions, even your life in a matter of hours. Many people did. Take the city of London, for example. Long before the infamous Great Fire of 1666, London burned again and again across the medieval centuries. In 1212, flames tore across the city so violently that thousands perished, many trapped on the bridge that spanned the Thames. Imagine the chaos. People fleeing across London Bridge, only to find both ends engulfed in fire. Screams echoing over the river, desperate souls leaping into the dark water below. Nor was London alone. Paris burned. Lubeck burned. Countless towns across Europe saw their timber hearts reduced to ashes. Fire was not a rare tragedy. It was an inevitable one. And so the people lived with it, always aware, always cautious, but never safe. The night watchmen patrolled with lanterns, their job not only to guard against thieves, but to sniff the air for smoke. Church bells were not just for worship, they were alarms, tolling frantically when flames were spotted. Some towns even passed laws demanding that chimneys be swept, or that fires be doused at nightfall. Yet despite every effort, the blazes kept returning. What must it have felt like? To live with that constant edge of fear, knowing that everything you owned could be lost in the blink of an eye. Imagine lying in bed on a windy night, listening to the wood creak above you, smelling the faint smoke from your hearth, and wondering, will it be us tonight? Will our street vanish in flames? But here's the strange, almost poetic thing. For all the destruction, fire also bound these cities together. When a blaze struck, it was not just your home at risk. It was your neighbors, your friends, your entire communities. The bucket lines, the frantic shouts, the desperate rescues, they were shared struggles. People rebuilt together, mourned together, fought the flames together. Out of the ashes, new walls rose, often on the same foundations as before, ready to face the same danger again. There's something haunting in that cycle. To live knowing disaster will come, and still to rebuild again and again. We, in our modern world, are insulated from this kind of fear. Our homes are stone, brick, steel. Our fire brigades roar into action at the first call. We light our cities not with flame, but with electricity. We take safety for granted. But walk those medieval streets in your imagination, and you'll feel how fragile everything was, how close to ruin each life balanced. The smell of smoke was always in the air, not just from cooking fires, but from memory, from the countless times flames had swept through before. Children grew up on tales of nights when the city glowed red, when the sky itself seemed to burn. Every generation knew that the beast of fire would return. It was not a question of if, but when. So why did medieval cities burn so often? Because they were made of fuel and lived by flame. Because people crowded together, leaning on each other for warmth, light, survival, without realizing they were also laying the path for destruction. Because the very thing that gave them life was always waiting to take it away. And yet, isn't it remarkable? Out of this endless struggle against fire, medieval cities did not vanish. They grew. They thrived. They rebuilt. The danger never stopped them from living, from building cathedrals that touched the sky, from trading goods that crossed continents, from creating worlds of beauty and culture. Perhaps that's the lesson hidden in the smoke and ash. Medieval people lived on the edge of disaster, yet they kept going. They accepted the risk of fire as part of existence, just as we accept dangers in our own lives, dangers we cannot see, but which may come for us all the same. So the next time you walk through a modern city, safe beneath its neon lights and steel towers, ask yourself, could you have lived in a world where fire was always watching, always waiting, always hungry? And maybe, just maybe, you'll smell a wisp of smoke on the wind, and remember that once, not so long ago, the cities of the world were built of kindling, and they burned again and again.